Good evening, everybody. Another Monday night with Bees All Day. And we have Kamon Reynolds joining us tonight, along with his COO, Chris Madras. And I guess all the usuals will be in here tonight as well. So I'm waiting on Charlie. And we've got 27 people in the chat already. So we're doing good. And the link is pinned to the top of the page on the YouTube side if you want to join us. So how you been, Kamon?
Oh, I've been really good. We got this cold weather moving down from up north and all that. So my kids got to see a little bit of a dusting of snow. They enjoyed that quite a bit. And we're just working on various things. Mostly been on the phone today about the workshops, getting that finalized, how long the sessions need to be, what type of, do we need if it's a wax class on how to make candles or molds, how big do the drop cloths need to be? That's a lot of logistics with the hands-on workshops right now.
Mm-hmm. And we got Charlie with us now.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Kamon.
Charlie.
I guess I need to raise my seat a little bit. So
yeah, now you can see yourself.
There you go.
I can't reach the floor now.
We won't hold that one against you.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, Tom, that's Chris Madras is with us tonight, too. He's going to moderate for us, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
So, there's Michael from 21st B. You need to connect your mic and your camera, Michael. So we have a lot of fun on here on Mondays and Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go through a little bit about Nabi, what's going on and everything, and tickets that are available or not available, and give us the rundown. Well, I think there's people on here tonight that aren't usually on Charlie's, because I've got a bunch of people from Cornell that may be on here tonight too.
Oh, so you get the ritzy crowd. Sawmill just gets whatever's left over.
Yeah, see, I'm a Cornell student as well.
I never would have guessed that, Bill, but you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to go there. So as far as the conference goes, I actually am going to give it to Chris as soon as we're done with this. I have 2 workshop rooms this year, and we're going to have everything from how to make your own candle molds to making candles in those molds. We're having mead making, 2 mead making sessions. We're having, of course, more microscopy classes. Those were wildly popular. And then we're having Gus Mitchell's cut comb classes, and probably an encaustic art for people who want to do beeswax art, painting, sculpture, various things like that. And so we're going to have, and this is really hands-on. Oh, I almost forgot. We're also having a queen catching class. And so we're bringing virgin queens from Florida, which is where you want to get the virgins from, I suppose, that time of the year. Now, Chris, what were you thinking? Why are you holding your head in your hands?
Why are you rubbing your forehead, Chris?
That's right. He's just thinking all the damage control.
I can't hit mute on his mic. I don't have those controls.
And so we're going to have actual queens at the show and instructors that will teach people how to actually catch queens and properly hold them, and for marking, or just maybe putting them in a cage or something like that to make a split. So it's going to be really nice. And the mead making, there's different classes. There's some where it's mostly just hands-on learning. It's real basic, but there's nothing that you really take away from it. And then there's the mead making class and some of the candle making where you actually get to keep some stuff. You get a whole mead making kit. And if you'll bring your own honey, they'll actually have the rest of the ingredients to make your first batch of mead and show you how to do it. And so you'll take that home, it'll start to ferment, and within a matter of whatever the time length is, you'll have your first round of mead ready to go. And so this is just something we wanted to offer because people can go to a lot of good conferences and hear lectures. Getting some hands-on would be nice. Also having some creamed honey talks as well. Beekeepers are wanting to learn how to take what they have and turn it into more value add,
Mhm.
wax or honey. So,
And that's a good thing. I mean, hands-on is always a good thing.
and I think it's a lot of fun too, especially for the folks that maybe already are interested in that, or maybe are really interested in the speaker. There's a lot of people that are fans of Gus, and he's going to be doing his cut comb again. Some people weren't able to do that last year because that's the only problem is for example, the candle making classes with Dancing Bee, you're actually going to make the mold first. They're going to show you how to make candle molds. And then you're going to come back the next day in part 2 of the class, and you're going to pour wax into it. They'll have it ready. And then you'll make a candle with the mold that you made as well. And they're going to walk you step by step through that whole process, which is going to be amazing if you're interested in that. The problem of it is you can't have 50 people in a class like that. Unless you have a ton of instructors, and they don't have the manpower. So we're looking at probably 25 people for that. So that's a little bit of a bummer. So they will be online. Chris will be putting them on there shortly. I haven't turned it into him yet, but they will be online, and we'll announce them all at once, and we'll hopefully get as many people as that want to get in there. But hey, Chris, you are in. And are you in an OFT'd on us? Well, that's just the way that he is sometimes.
Yep.
Chris has been doing a lot of work on the back end of stuff. We're trying to work a popcorn buyout and stuff to be able to have that as an option this year at the expo for people who want
Charlie
to.
will love that.
Oh yeah. Well, you go to some of these round tables, and you almost should have popcorn. There you go. Charlie's already ready for tonight. See, what we figure is we're going to take 2 of the most argumentative people, and we'll sit them on a panel and just have popcorn ready for anybody who wants them.
There you go.
But all jokes aside, a little bit of snacks would be nice.
Yeah.
And once Chris comes back, I'll talk a little bit about the one of the new additions that we're doing as well to some of the workshops. As far as the lectures go, there's going to be quite a bit of good ones. Some of them are already posted. You go to onto the website, you see the speaker, and if you click on the speaker, Chris has it integrated where it'll say this person's doing a panel on this, and that, and they're giving a lecture on this and one at this time. It shows you the dates and the room number and everything. And there will be a schedule released. We're still finalizing a couple topics. One of the issues I'm having is since the government's been shut down, some of the people that are researchers working with the USDA and stuff, you haven't been able to get a hold of them. And I can't get a hold of Dr. Frank Rankovich to save my life. So I've been trying the last few weeks.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But they did vote last night to open it back up, and they finalized it today.
I'm sure the government will accomplish a lot of good for everybody. They're so good at it.
Yep.
But so basically that we're also looking at doing a few interesting things in the trade show. We've had one vendor back out, and so we have this list of vendors waiting to get in. So we were able to put one person in from New Zealand, and I was on the horn with an Australian company, and it's a really neat product. I'm excited because I put my honey in drums. They also do other types of heaters as well, but there's not a really good drum heater out there that's easily accessible to my knowledge. A lot of the band heaters that you put around the drums is what I've been using. It's just hard to get it accurate, and even when you do get it accurate, the last couple inches of honey on the bottom just doesn't really decrystallize because heat wants to rise.
Yeah.
And when you have that band around the heater, it only does so well, especially if it's directly on concrete, which mine are. And so this one actually is a dolly with a heater built into it. And so you can roll it around, plug it in an outlet, and it warms the bottom of the barrel, which is exactly where you need that heat.
Yeah.
And so this is an Aussie made product, and they're shipping some out for us to show and tell in the commercial area of the event, which is the North Center region around Man Lake and the Bee Cause Alliance and Project APISM and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. We keep ours up on pallets,
Mhm.
and we've got drum blankets
Mhm.
with the cover that goes over the top of the drum as well. And it heats for 15, 20 minutes and cuts off. Heats 15, 20 minutes and cuts off. They work really well on ours because we have them up off of a cold floor on the pallets. But something you might want to think about, putting them on pallets. They're easier to move that way too.
Well, and yeah, having them on the pallets. I need to get a honey house that has access to my forklift. I've got one, but it's the way that the building that I have with my house, just not able to get the forklift to it. It's just too great of a pitch. Everything is on a hill or on the side of a hill around here at the base of a hill. Everything's centered around the hills.
Yeah.
It's either not rolling uphill or it's rolling downhill. But
yeah.
Chris, can we?
What I missed? I'm sorry. I had family stuff. Sorry.
Well, no problem.
Spare you all the details.
Do you think we could share the North American Honey Bar, what that looks like?
Yes.
We actually could use some help from some folks.
I know. All right. Got that right there.
So, some folks are talking about, a larger drum with a heater to set the drum of honey in to make all drums jacketed. Yeah, you could create like almost something you could slip around it or something, but that's there's some blankets and things out there. I think a lot of it comes down to cost and whatnot. But a blanket heat on the bottom would be probably about as good as anything. So this is, for those of you who have already come, to the left, we have the merch booth, and to the right is where you would go into the lecture halls, and north, all these arrows take you into the trade show. Thank you, Chris.
Sorry, for reference, yeah.
And Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about the North American Honey Bar?
Sure. We'll take some direct inspiration from the folks at Appamundia who do something like this for all the different countries from around the world who come to Appamundia. We're going to do the same thing for North America. So alphabetically, there will be anywhere between probably 2 to 4 different types of honey from around the state, from each state that we have volunteers from. So we will have a survey here soon to get some volunteers in order to bring their honey and represent their state. And then we'll obviously, because we are in the home of Kentucky, we'll have the KSBA represented here on the end, and they'll be able to have a nice little spot to represent the great state of Commonwealth, of Kentucky, along with some items from Canada. And I don't know if Canada has this much honey, but we just have at least a placeholder for some Canadian honey. We'll see if maybe we get some other international honey to come, but it'll look something like this. We will have options for both like small plastic spoons, like the tasting spoons, as well as some of the wooden stirrers.
Yeah.
But we know that some people are very polarizing in one or the other, so we'll have some of both. So Tom, you asked about folks having different states to submit honey. We will have that open here soon. We just kind of want to make sure we get our arms around that properly. We will not be asking anyone to ship honey, anything like that. This will all be brought to the expo by someone. So if you are not attending and you are chosen, then you'll have to get your honey in from someone else. Definitely a requirement that you are there. So, so this will be a real fun opportunity. Hopefully people can, really demonstrate the unique flavors of honey that can come from each state with the floral notes and all that fun stuff. So, this will be our first stab at it. So,
and Tom Sostman, VIA Honeybees, is asking if we're going to be looking for folks in different states to submit honey, and we will. We'd like to have 2 to 3 varieties from representing that state at all times, and that doesn't mean that that'll be the only honeys that will represent the state. We know that there's a lot of beekeepers that come from all over the U.S., and also we don't know really, to be honest, how much honey we're going to go through at this point. It could be for each state a case of honey total. It could be half a case. It could be 2 cases. We really don't know. I need to do a little bit more math on it, but still, how many people are actually going to engage? And when I was at Appomondia, I saw their global honey bar, and it was really neat. And I tried several out, but I didn't try all of them out. I tried maybe 10% of all of the things that were available. All of the ones I really wanted to try that looked neat or had something different about them. And so we just don't know yet, but I would love to have 2 to 3 types of honey present at all times from the U.S. and Canada. And if we could get some source in Mexico, that would be great too. I just do not know anybody. I have no connections in Mexico whatsoever. And so we're definitely open to that as well. But the Canadian honey will be on this side, and any Canadians that would like to help us with that, maybe manage some of the different provinces, we would be interested in maybe looking at for some volunteer help from a Canadian or 2 or 3, working with them on possibly something ticket related.
Are there that many Canadians up there? Do they have more than 3?
Well, yeah. They do.
It's sparsely populated, so
they need to wear some. All the Canadians need to wear a maple leaf so that we know who they are. Or just carry maple syrup with them instead of honey. That would also help.
Here to answer those 2 questions. So the bees, nuts, honey. You can once we release this. Again, we don't know how we're going to do it just yet. But however we do the submission. We would obviously, it's the honor system. We'd ask that, you take whoever is submitting, you take pride in your honey, and it's real 100%. It's not cut. It's not fake, etc. I think that kind of just goes without saying, but certainly whether you're a 50-year beekeeper or a first-year beekeeper, I don't think that necessarily matters. We just want to make sure we have every state represented and a couple in there. So,
sure.
And then Tom,
I think that we would want a label on it or something like that. I would think. Maybe we don't. We at least need
all have to be.
We need a way to identify. Labeled, yeah.
Yep.
And then we also will need to have that information of roughly what it is. Let's be honest here. I don't know half of what my honey is. I know the major players of it, but there's a lot of little things, and each year can be a little bit different. So we want to give folks that are truly haven't experienced a honey like that, because maybe they're in the north or in the west, and they've never tried a Tennessee or Kentucky honey, and they kind of get a general idea of what we have. There's going to be some similarities in certain regions, but then that's why we want Ian Stepler to ship some canola honey down, because he brags on it as being the best honey, and everyone knows it's just not the case. But if he really thinks it's that amazing, he needs to send down a case, and we can try Ian Stepler canola honey and see if it's actually any good.
And Tom, to answer your question,
there is a lot of Canada up there.
Tentatively, we're thinking about doing probably 16-ounce containers, and I believe I actually have a message out to the to some health department kind of people. I believe what has to happen is every jar of honey, it has to follow the state law of where it came from. So if you are in, for instance, Missouri, Tom, I don't know if you're familiar with that state or not, but you would just have to make sure that your honey that you bring follows your state law, because you're not selling it in Kentucky. So we'll definitely have more information on that. So
okay. So basically, we don't have a whole lot going on right now, guys. Just a few odds and ends. The vendors, you know, there's this one company called Shenandoah Bee Supply, and they're just super needy, constantly asking for favors and us to hold their hand. And if anyone ever runs into those guys, tell them to figure it out. Get with it. I'm sorry, Bill. I just can't help myself.
I know you can't. It's part of your nature.
Yeah, my poor wife.
Hey, at least I'm not teaching a class tonight, right?
Well, no one's learning anything beneficial at this point. But maybe they'll get a laugh or two. Yeah, there's a couple people agreeing with me, Bill. Autumn says that they've heard about those guys. Watch out for them.
Yeah.
But so, what part exactly is your storefront located in? I've meant to look it up, but I'm not 100% sure.
We are in Woodstock, Virginia, right off of 81.
81.
Yep. Exit 283 off of 81. That's the Woodstock exit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 5,000 square foot storefront. And
Nice.
We also have a commercial kitchen where we process honey.
That's awesome.
That is pretty cool. If I'm ever driving through that way, I ought to stop by and just say hello and all that.
Well, you're just assuming they'll open the door for you. Wow. That's a quite the
Yeah, you've got to come by on a day that I'm open, because if you come by on a day I'm closed, I'm not going to open the door for anybody.
I'll just sit out there on the doorstep.
Yeah, maybe Chris.
Yeah, maybe Chris. Just those Yankees have to stick together, I guess, huh?
I'm not a Yankee. I'm below the Mason-Dixon line.
I know.
Yeah, listen to him over here.
Who claims Kentucky after all these years? Has anybody claimed Kentucky yet?
Why would we?
I don't think anybody has. Bill is my mentor. Please don't make him disown me. Well, no promises. I'm not really good at helping people in that way. I'm good at getting people into trouble. I'm really talented in that regard.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
So
something else that I do is I have a trivia question.
Uh-oh.
And you can participate if you want to, Kamon. No cheating. You can't look it up on AI. It's all got to come from the top of your head. And there's very specific answers to these questions. So the trivia question night, it's worth a $150 gift certificate. All right.
Well, I'll enter it, but I'm not. Don't let me win or anything like that.
Presumptuous, you know the answer.
Well, I probably don't, because I'm always terrible at these things. But this happened one time. I went and was the keynote speaker, and I was really excited because this is the first time I'd been the keynote speaker. Usually I'm just a speaker, if that. And I get there and everything's going really good. And then there's this room full of like 300 people, and they do something like this. And I told them not to throw my name in there, and they did. And I won like the biggest prize at the event. And I'm like, no one's going to believe that this isn't underhanded. And so they ended up giving it to a kid, which was good. And the kid was taller than me. And then the kid literally said, "Wow, you're shorter than I thought, Mr. Reynolds." And that's how the entire crowd lost their mind. And that was one of the first short jokes I got roasted on stage. And that was right before COVID started. They locked things down a week later. And so that was, I'll never forget that one, because I had a kid that was probably around 12 say how short I was. And I was really surprised. So, Bill, sorry, go ahead and go with your question and stuff.
Okay. Drone congregation areas. What environmental features most consistently define drone congregation areas? There's a very specific answer to this. You have 3 minutes, starting at 8:25. Yep.
Okay. Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that, Chris? We're going to get Bill demonetized?
No.
Well, it's Bill's channel, not ours. So
Okay.
So are your bees doing all right, Kamon?
Well, I don't think that they think that right now. We were like 70 degrees a couple of days ago, and there's snow on the ground. Not a whole lot, but they look really good. I have some really strong clusters. I just fed my last bit of sugar syrup last week, and we've put on a lot of weight. All of our production colonies really didn't need any feed. A couple here and there. It was mainly the July splits, the early July splits that needed to be fed. But I've got too many bees. I'm gonna give some to Chris at the start of next year so he can take care of some of them. And
Hey, I just want to point out Bees in the Abyss, Kevin. He's suggesting a tequila bar. I said that'd be a perfect. We could call it the drone
Yep.
bar at the expo. I love
So
that.
Sandy Valley's on the right track.
yeah, it's just what we need at the expo is loaded beekeepers.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, when I showed up there, it was quite the eye-opening experience. I was there at the expo center. I was there for the farm implementation show, and I walked in at like 9:30 or 10 or whatever. It was early.
Yeah.
And I didn't see over 50% of the people walking around, men, women, farmers, whoever they were, 50% of the people had a can of beer in their hand. At, again, 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever it was. And I was like, this is something. This is a little different. But they're also darn nice. So
I'm going to give you a hint. It has to do with air currents.
well, I'm going to learn something tonight, Kamon, something you never taught me.
There's a lot of things I don't tell you, man. I can't let you. It's like the whole Darth Vader, Darth Sidious stuff. I can't teach you all the tricks. I want you to take over.
Anybody have a good guess? Because you're running out of time. You're on the right track, Tom. You're going the right way, Sandy. So far, she's been the closest. All right, time's up. The answer is elevated wind-sheltered depressions with consistent air currents. To explain it a little bit, in layman's terms, DCAs form predictably in sheltered areas with stable air movement, often bounded by visual landmarks. So Sandy was the closest. So I'll give her 50% of that 150 was $75. So you won tonight, Sandy.
Nice.
Ding, ding,
Good
ding,
job.
ding, ding. Well, that would make sense. Those winds make it a lot tougher, and the drones have to come back and feed a lot. They can only be out for so many minutes, and they got to come back and then load up on honey and then fly back out. And so the windier it is, the more difficult the conditions, the shorter time span they're going to be hang out there if they have to burn through that. Basically, they're like a diesel truck. They're just burning through that fuel.
Yep. Like a big old tank. They got to keep that tank full.
Yeah.
So
4 miles to the gallon.
Yep, or less. Just like my truck.
Yeah, I've got a 83 Chevy big block. It's a 366, and that thing I can get about 7 if I pop it into neutral and go down a hill. Maybe. But those things were built like a square block, and they just grab all the wind.
Yep.
Still runs.
That's a good thing, right?
Well, no real computers on it. And so we've got a couple of our vendors here. Of course, Bill's going to be coming to our show. Chris, he's up on an end cap as you're going towards the coffee, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
he's between aisle 9 and 10, right by the food and the coffee and the muffins.
Yeah.
So
So
it's right there.
you can load up on that, and then load up on stuff at Bill's. And where's Michael at 21st B? I should know this, and I can probably get close to my brain,
So
but
right as you come in that first aisle, aisle 4, Michael's the second booth on the right side.
So plenty of gear to be had at the show. For you vendors, if you guys end up needing a forklift, we do have that this year. It's available. Anybody who's watching this that is going to buy a forklift's worth of stuff, let's say you buy a pallet of frames worth from Michael and gear, or you buy a pallet of Acorn frames from Bill, or a couple other odds and ends, and it takes a pallet to get it on the truck. The vendors just need to kind of know as soon as you guys have an idea that, hey, we're going to be getting these big orders, all this woodenware, all this stuff. That way they can plan all these frames. And so the vendors can then tell us, because we really need to know before the show all the needs for the forklift, just so we can schedule it out. So if you guys come across any needs for that, just let us know, and we'll make sure that you're able to load it onto the customer's trailer or truck.
You can definitely do that. That'd be a big help.
Yeah.
Last year we did it all with pallet jacks.
Oh yeah.
So anything inside, so anything during the expo hours where there's attendees inside, can't use the forklift inside.
Yeah.
So if something's in storage or something like that, or you had to move it inside, it all has to be done with the pallet jack. But once it gets outside, we'll have that forklift there as much as possible. But I would say though that before expo hours and after, if the staff is there and we're able to schedule it, we can use the forklift inside. But again, as soon as attendees come in those doors, we're real locked down. So
yeah,
Tom,
we just can't have
wanna,
it indoors.
If you want a forklift ride, you'll have to ask Jeremy about it. So
Now, what about electric pallet jacks? If you have your own, can you bring it, or how's that going to work?
Yes, vendors can bring their own electric pallet jacks. If you run over Michael's foot and crush it, you're liable for it though. So don't do that to Michael. He needs it. And
yeah,
I'm far away from Bill. It'll be all right. He begged for one of those primo spots by all the food and coffee. So
I didn't. No,
I'll see him way in the distance. Like, how's it going over there?
No, he actually didn't. The only people that this is the first year we done this. The only people that actually got to pick some spots were silver, gold, and platinum sponsors. We did that this year. In the past, we've pretty much have just done coffee and muffin sponsorships. But some of them, like especially the companies that have the biggest booths, we typically cater on the end caps as a thank you for the purchase of all the booth space and stuff, and also typically have the biggest displays and kind of we need people to be able to get into the booths. A lot of those bigger booths, they're trying to actually have people step in them and stuff. So we're trying to make our trade show look good. We've been coaching Bill for a while now. He's finally starting to get with it on what a decent display looks like at a show.
Hey, I had to have a bigger booth this year because I'm going to put a table right in the middle of my display.
Oh, yeah?
For Charlie and any of the YouTubers that want to come sit there and sign autographs and talk to people. So I had to have a place for them to be.
Well,
I love that.
How many? You're trying to get people to actually show up to your booth, aren't you? Right? I mean, no, that'll actually be really fun, and that's what we'd like to see is more interaction there. That was one of the things that was different. Apple Monday had a great show. I really enjoyed myself, but just looking, we're a selling conference. We want vendors if they're able to, and it doesn't always logistically make sense for every company to do so. But when possible, we want people to be able to sell there and to help break even, or maybe even sometimes make money depending on the company. And we want it to be interactive. We want to have tables. We want people to be relaxed. We're going to have a lot more places to sit down this year. There's going to be some tables up by the coffee and up by Bob's booth as well. So if folks want to go down hang out with Shenandoah, and then afterwards go get a coffee, and then hang out up there and maybe chat with Bob. And then you get a little tired and want to sit down, that would be great. But we're hoping in the future to have more space and figure out ways to be able to have more opportunities for other companies to have space within their booth to maybe sit down. And so if we purchase more space, we know that we're not going to be able to fill all of it up, because it basically the only way to purchase more space is to purchase double what we already have.
Yeah.
And so we do have some creative ideas, but ultimately we don't want it to be boring either. We don't just want to fill it with garbage. And so we're looking at maybe something that offers companies that are willing to do some cool stuff, to throw them a bone on pricing wise, to do something really neat, have a bigger booth display. It'll allow more people to come into the booth, just give that more hangout aspect of it, because that's what we're looking for. And there's not this pressure of, well, the aisle's busy, there's a lot of people rushing by, we got to scoot past this booth, just because there's so many people. There's another one of those Shenandoah Valley guys with some gear or some frames just getting in the way. But the electric pallet jacks, yes, you can bring your own, all that kind of stuff. Just
there is I'll caveat that with, there are limited plugs, at least like along the walls,
and we're getting them and then whatever's left you guys can have. Okay.
So I mean, obviously if you have electric at your booth, you could obviously hook that up there, but
Sure. And I reserve the right to use it and surf down the aisles at my leisure.
That's always fun to watch you do that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't use the electrical during the show, but it's funny because.
Can I show the video?
Huh? Well, that wasn't No. Let's not show.
Oh, that was electrical. Oh,
yeah,
that was.
But nobody was at the show yet. What happens before the show doesn't get shown to the rest of the people at the show.
Okay, well, that's
fine. I hadn't used an electric pallet jack like that before. I was figuring it out, and being, I thought I had hired and employed people who were merciful and understood
all these excuses he's saying.
There's a learning period for these devices. And I figured it out eventually, and you guys were just jealous that I made it look so good.
That's it. Yeah, it came into. I'll add to your what you were talking about earlier. So last year we had around 155 vendors taking up. It was like 395 spots, give or take. So this year we have about 135 vendors, give or take, and those 135 vendors are taking up. It's like 480 spots. So, most vendors went up, 10 to 20% in space, give or take, 15%. So most vendors went up in space. Obviously, companies like Dayton really went up in space. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean this. I think a lot of people have seen what John and other people have done. But in terms of having a booth where you can kind of mingle in and talk in and look at Jed's booger welds and stuff like that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all good things to have. So, yeah, we tried to spread things out, and listen, when you're putting 130 plus companies inside of here, it's not easy. It's
we probably spent 2 days of labor initially just assigning spots, trying to balance the floor out as good as possible, and you never get it quite right, and so we just do what we can, and then we do all of that, and then we realize, whoop, Chris made a mistake. Dadgummit again.
Yep.
Or Kamon made a mistake.
That's why we have 4 people look at it. Yeah.
And we'll probably still find something else. And so, but I don't think so much. We are having to tweak a little bit. We did have one company back out. They just couldn't make it. I think they said there's some type of restructuring of the company. And so it was just a 10 by 10. But still, there is some of that happens, and then we just someone has to go in the back, and someone has to go in this spot or that spot in between some bigger companies, and there's just no way to perfectly get it for everybody. Unless we really raise the price per booth, and we could be like Appamonte and be about $5,000 a 10 by 10. So if we did that, we could probably offer a whole lot more if people would actually pay it. And I don't think they would. I wouldn't pay it. So that being said, the crowd is looking up right now. Chris did the numbers, and we were 270 people above where we were this time last year. So that's a good little trend there. November and December are usually pretty strong months, and so I looked at the tickets. We're on a trajectory. If you include, and this is staff, speakers, vendors, everybody, we're on a trajectory to be a little under 4,000 people right now. So that's a nightmare logistically, but we'll figure it out. I'm just like, please, no one throw up in one of the aisles this year. That's all I ask.
Hey, I had two things to add, Kamon, too, for vendors and kind of the general public too. So, for obviously the vendors who are here, but anyone else listen, Sean is going to Copper Canyon Coffee. They are going to be offering coffee on Move-In Day on Wednesday. We'll also have I don't know which one, but there will be a food vendor there from the expo. If you are unfamiliar how an expo works, you are not allowed to bring food inside of the expo. They have a moratorium on bringing food in. So on Wednesday, whether you love or hate the food there, I have no comment on that. I'm just stating that last year there wasn't any food available. So there will be some this year.
Yeah.
Our hands are tied there. We're not able to pick and choose what's there. There's a new company in for this year, and so we're rolling with that. So, but not only will Sean be set up on Wednesday, but also Sean will have delivery of coffee for vendors during the expo. So if you are a vendor during the expo, he and his team are coming up with a way to have you order coffee rather, and they will deliver it to your booth. So more details on that once they're done, but that's there. And then Kamon and I are at the very, very, very end. You don't need to show Tom's event. I was just going to say, Tom's going to kick me in the shin when he sees me. We actually are finalizing our details with the Crown for our vendors event on Wednesday evening. And then for our everybody, including vendors event on Thursday at the Crown. So we actually had a really great call. It was only the third call we had to have to get the pricing down, but we were able to pretty significantly get the pricing down for a hotel sponsored dinner. So, and it sounds really good, and they have a good reputation there. So
Nobody's going to pull the fire alarm this year, are they?
Well, I can't promise that.
No, well, the goal is to get as many people to stay at the Crown as possible, because I don't think it's ever going to happen from our group. It was probably just going to be some other yahoos staying at the hotel.
Yeah.
And so, but all it takes is one,
Yep.
And so last year, I ended up staying at the Crown last year. I actually had our host hotel for the VIPs and staff at the 4 Point Sheraton, and they ended up messing something up where my mom got there a day later than she was supposed to, and I bought the entire hotel out, every room. But it's not as big as the Crown is either. I mean, they have 70 something rooms, 80 rooms, and the Crown's 500 and something. So,
yeah.
So I bought them all out. So I'm like, well, this is going to be great because we're literally going to have the whole darn thing. I'm not going to fight anybody except people that I'm supposed to be working with. So this will be nice. Well, I told them I'm paying for this entire thing, so I expect these rooms to be available. Well, they did the standard thing where my mom didn't showed up a day late because something happened and she just couldn't make it. And so she shows up a day late, and they're like, "Oh, we've already given that to some random person because she showed up a day late." Oh, and I was not happy about it. My mom was really tired on the trip too, and it was my mother. If it had been Chris, I'm like, "Chris, you're out of luck, man. Go find something."
Arby's. I'll sleep in Arby's.
That's right. Just go sleep in the car. It'll be fine. And so I gave my wife and I gave my mom our room, and then we had a spare room at the Crown that we hadn't filled up because we had a staff member back out last minute, and so I was able to stay over there with Laurel, and it was actually really nice. There was a lot of beekeepers at the Crown. It's recently remodeled. We didn't have anybody pull any fire alarms. So hopefully that was a once and done dealio. But yeah, we will have food over there. The nice thing on load-in day though too, Chris, is people will be able to get food close if they want to not have to go anywhere. They could go get it from one of the food vendors, but also they don't charge for the doors on those days. So if you want to be able to go in and out and be able to get something nearby, there's no fee to get in and out.
Yeah. Good. So the gate fee, the toll fee to get in, the parking fee on Tuesday and Wednesday is they don't have attendance there. I still need to find out, make sure that other event though isn't going on, because if it is, then they will have that open. So I'll figure all that out. I'll obviously communicate that with the vendors. But yeah, last year I know a lot of vendors were upset because the previous 2 years, if you got there early enough, they wouldn't charge you. And that was apparently the worst kept secret because they told people, well, we knew you guys were coming in for free, so we got out here early to charge you.
So I showed up an hour earlier the next day.
Yeah. So
how much are these people willing to get up in the morning for?
Not a minimum wage.
No.
So.
But yeah, usually if you got there by 6:30 or 7, you were safe in days past. You can't do that anymore. No. And the doors aren't open, so unless you want to save $15 and sit out there in your truck for an hour while you wait for us to get the keys.
Yep.
In the cold too, usually.
So are vendors going to be able to drive in this year and offload at their booth?
Yep. Yeah, we actually had a meeting.
Well,
today with Jeremy.
The nice vendors will be able to. The rest of them will have to hoof it in. So Michael's doing a lot of hoofing. Those heavy frames, he's going to have abs and he's going to be jacked.
Hey, I actually had a question about that, since I don't know what I'm pulling yet or how, pre-sales and all that.
Sure.
So I'm looking at everything from shipping stuff and pulling a trailer to just pulling a trailer to maybe renting a big truck and driving it in, kind of the in between. So let's say I drive in like a 24 foot truck with a lift gate. I'm assuming I can get that into the doors, into the building, because I've seen some big trailers last year pull in. So if I'm like in front of my booth and I'm using the lift gate to offload, there's no forklift inside to help with that, right? I'm on my own. I better bring a manual pallet jack in my truck with me to wheel stuff out of the back and down the lift gate and all that.
Yeah, if there's a bunch of vendors loading in, we won't have the forklift in amongst them working. But are you thinking everything's going to be palletized?
Oh yeah, if I did that, it's all on pallets.
Okay, so if a truck's got a lift gate like that, is that tall enough? Is it going to be high enough to where it can back up to the docks? Because then we'd be able to just put a ramp from one side to the other and be able to just use a pallet jack to pull it right off if it's high enough.
Yeah, I guess that would just depend on what brand and size and and all that. But
yeah.
Or I didn't know if I did something like that, and let's say I pulled up to my booth and I offloaded 4 pallets by hand, kind of drive back outside and then offload the other pallets to my storage space I paid for. Just whatever logistically will work in the end.
Sure, well, we could do that. Or if you're just like, we'll have some electric pallet jacks and some of our guys there as well. And so if it's something really particular like that, and it's just easier not to drive the truck in, we can get a couple guys with electric ones just to pull it right on in. If it doesn't match up with the dock, the bigger trucks we can get in. The biggest trick that we're having is last year we were able to go through the South Wing B and C, which are both 129,000 square feet, which is the room that we're in.
Yeah.
And since we can't use those this year because someone else is loading a conference in for the following weekend. And so that's going to be a lot harder for us to be able to bring vendors in and then just truck them right out that direction. That was so amazing. Yeah, we can't do that. So we're going to have to be able to loop them inside and loop them back out. And so
So yeah,
Yeah.
big truck logistically, that's just not going to work inside. So
Well, it's not that we can't do it. It's just if we can avoid it, let's try
yeah,
to, and we'll help you with it. So that
There's ways around that, Michael. What we could have you do is we could have you just back in that door and stop once you get to the storage unit, drop your lift gate, unload, and then be able to pull back out. And then at least you're just pallet jacking from there to the storage and or there to your booth. That's not
yeah,
you know,
yeah. That's
because I'm looking at the floor plan. I mean, Jeremy's and I are going to sit down and try to come up with something. It's by shoving in an additional 75 spots in here, it's creating some interesting difficulties. I mean,
I remember how tight it was last year, and that was easy because of the way it was laid out. So imagine this year, you don't want to be pulling anything big along and trying to turn corners and not run people over. And
we prefer not to, but if you are, there's a couple of preferred vendors if you are going to run over them that are high maintenance. So just let me know. I'll let you know who they are.
I've been driving a forklift since I was a teenager. So if I need to accidentally fork somebody,
not like that. That's slow. We need it quick, Michael. Quick.
I don't have a forklift license. I haven't updated that thing in a couple of decades, but
we told him that he wasn't allowed to be on there. I mean, I'm thinking of my conversations with my insurance. But we'll figure it out. We'll help you with it. Just let us know what you decide as we get closer. And if it fits up with the dock, that's what we prefer to do. And we'll help you hoof it. We've got guys back there that do that. And we've got 2 electric pallet jacks, plus we have 2 manual pallet jacks. And we'll swipe one of Bill's if he looks away for too long, and we'll manage to get it up there. But ultimately, it is going to be a lot tighter this year. We will have a plan. We'll let people know. We're going to try to be very organized as we can with it. But even being perfect on time slots and who's coming and where and what's the most efficient, it's still going to be a little different than last year and might take a little bit longer. So we'll be communicating with everybody, especially in December, and just be looking for those emails, and we'll try to make it as painless as possible.
Well, like last year, I've been going to trade shows for 30 years, and last year was like one of the easiest ones I've ever gotten in and out of to begin with.
Yep.
We're going to big trade shows that, 1,000 vendors are at it, and it's just crazy. So it's nice being able to not have to take a pallet at a time and walk for 15 minutes one way, So whatever time, everything works great.
Well, thanks for saying that. We picked Kentucky primarily for that and a couple other reasons, because most of the venues just make it so cost prohibitive. You just can't afford to do it. I was up there in Appomattox talking to several of the companies that come to our show that were at that show, and they had a 10 by 20 booth, and they had $30,000 wrapped up into it because there's so many union fees. You can't bring your own product in. Everything's nickeled and dime, and so basically the Kentucky Expo is expensive, but it's not murder. And that's kind of the way that it just is with these things. And so we've looked at like Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, several places in the Carolinas and Georgia. The problem of it is it's either too expensive. There's not enough dock space. There's no parking space. You're all downtown and you just kind of fight for parking space, whatever you can find. And so that makes a really negative experience for the attendees. And we want it to be really low maintenance. Hey, there's plenty of parking for everybody. And we're doing some things to help make it a little bit simpler for people to get their product in the back. So the way I look at it is the less stress the attendees are having to go through, the more fun they're going to have, the more they're going to come back and visit us. And so, Bill, don't ruin their day for them putting this thing together with Charlie in your booth. We're trying to entertain.
I'm sure it'd be entertaining.
Kamon, I got a question. You said there's another venue happening at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Are they coming in the same front doors as the beekeepers are coming in, or are they coming in another way?
So yes-ish. We have the main lobby, of course, where we all walk in. Yeah. They will be using that, but we start on Thursday before they do.
Oh, okay.
And so the main rush of people, it will be a little bit different how it's handled this year, but we should be able to get that out of the way without too many issues. And there will be people coming in. We don't know how many people that will be at this point. We're looking into it. But we don't really use that main lobby much after the ticketing's done. You know, sometimes people go over to the workshops and see the honey show, and then mostly they're over in our sector. And so they're actually going in those doors and then going north, the opposite direction of the Bee Expo. So there shouldn't be a need for them to come through our area. Not to say there won't be some people that meander.
So they're going to go in the door and make a left-hand turn.
Yes, sir. The left-hand turn, go to that north wing, and
under the escalator where the dinosaurs were the first year.
Yeah, I know where that. Okay.
Yeah, and so they'll be over in there, and we're hoping that they have a good crowd that stays far away from us. And that was one of the unfortunate consequences of moving a week back. Nobody wants to be around New Year's Eve, but there were some perks with it, but there was just as many cons for sure, and it was more expensive to run a show on that weekend, but things weren't quite as busy. We were really fortunate to actually get this second week. Somebody didn't renew their contract in time, and we were able to get it. And then, of course, some other conferences have taken it personally, like we did it intentionally, but we were just excited not to be working New Year's again. And several of the companies who are trying to ship a semi into the show, trying to ship a semi or a couple pallets of product over New Year's is really a tricky proposition.
Yeah, it was.
So we did it just for you, Bill, because we know you hate being bored, and we always deliver at the Bee Expo. Charlie's going to have a rocking chair and an old
Victrola.
An old wooden rocker sitting there with a cane bottom in it.
I feel ignorant. What's a Victrola?
You know what
A Victrola?
That sounds like it was before I was born.
Oh, it was way before you were born.
Before my time too.
Before me.
Well, I know what a Coca-Cola is. I know what Victorian era is, but I don't know what a Victrola is.
It's a record player that you crank up.
Oh, okay. I've heard that's a model.
Spring in it unwinds and plays the record.
Yeah, my grandpa would be ashamed. I should know.
It played all them 78s that Bill Monroe put out.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100 years ago. Which is wild in some ways that it's only been 100 years. It also seems like it's been a lot longer than that too. It's of course I wasn't around, but I've studied a lot of bluegrass history, read a lot of books, keep up with it. And the beekeeping stuff, it's really interesting. Bluegrass and beekeeping have been kind of similar in some ways on how they both took off and then kind of dwindled around the same time. I think a lot of those types of things, ag-wise and stuff, it really went and came in strong and then went out with the World War II and Industrial Revolution. And now people have so much entertainment on their phones, and they're watching people like us be idiots on YouTube, and instead of playing the band show with their neighbor, because that's the only way they have of having any fun.
Yeah, I forgot about this. I got to put a dance floor in there too, so Charlie can dance.
So what do you buck dance, Charlie?
Yeah, flat foot. Whatever.
Flat foot. Well, some people are born flat foot. I mean, you can't really help it sometimes.
I got high arches.
I'm just messing with you. I know the difference. We used to play Sally Gooden like for hours straight.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, we go to the Smithfield Jamboree, and they get the fiddle player, and we'd have to talk a new fiddle player into it every year because they were like, oh, this is going to be such an honor. And then after the 400th rendition of Sally Gooden for the next buck dancer or flat footer or the clogger, we'll be like, hey, you're going to help us again next year, right? Don't call me, I'll call you. We never heard from him again. But yeah, well, there's a lot of people that do that around here. They'll come to Tennessee and they'll show that off. And the problem of it is the ones that are a lot of times the best at are these like 10-year-old kids.
Mhm.
And I think some of it's to do with the flexibility, but some of them, they start getting their parents take them to classes, or maybe their parents do it too. That's what happens a lot of times.
Just all you gotta do is go down to Floyd Country Store where I go a
Mhm.
couple times, and I mean they got 10-year-olds down there that, and that community teaches their young children
Mhm.
how to play music, how to sing, how to clog.
Yep.
They have after school, you know, classes and stuff like that, which I think is pretty neat.
Well, they need to keep that stuff alive. It's an important part of American culture, and it's pretty wild what some of them will do. But they'll come up here to the Smithville Jamboree, and you think you're doing pretty good, and this 10-year-old who's been doing it for 8 years, basically, and had their parents, or one of the girls that was exceptional. She's probably 18 by now. Her grandpa was into it, and she picked it up from him, and she just go home with all the ribbons every year.
Yeah.
And at this point,
I know there was a family down there at Floyd. It would bring a little boy and a girl that they had, and I think now, like you say, now they're about 15 or so.
Mhm.
But they would come in for the first couple hours, you know, and then they had to go home. But they could do it. Let me tell you, they're
Well,
good.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you need to put that out, Bill. We'll film it and see if we can get some of the ladies to throw
Yeah.
dollars. Please stop this. I'll just throw money. We'll pay you. Please stop. But yeah, we got a lot of things going on. Hey, Randy, we'll see you later. It's past his bedtime. Randy's got to get to bed pretty early.
Yeah.
He's on that East Coast time too. I guess most of you guys are as well, Maryland and Virginia and
We got
Ohio.
we've got at least one Canadian in here tonight, maybe two. Some Midwest and West Coasters in here too.
Well, I'm Central Time, and so that's really great because we get all this beautiful 4:30 dark weather every night now.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're the cheating central because you're like an hour over the border. You're not that far into, you get the worst part of it.
I know I do get the worst part of it.
But it's because you grew up in Indiana where they like faked the time changes for all those years.
Indiana was great. We loved the Indiana for that. Great basketball state, good with the time zone. Rebels with the time zone. I think they finally have submitted though.
They have
to uniformly on the time change, but it wasn't that long ago. Louisville is EST, and
just barely.
Yeah, just barely. It's a nice Mideastern area part of the country. I guess it's Mideast. It's somewhere central, heartland. What would you call that?
You get just past Knoxville there. You got the big sign there. At least that's I used to see it where they said your Central Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Michael. What are you? You're out in Arkansas. What's that? Central? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're central enough. I go to work in the dark and come home in the dark. So
yeah,
that's 3 or 4 months of just dark.
Yep.
It stinks. Yeah, but the bees are doing good. I've got a little bit of fondant for a few of them that I've still got to feed a little bit. I'm been telling a lot of people this, and Chris is going to hold me to it because Laura might kill me if I say one more time that I'm going to cut back and I don't, because I ended up getting about 300 hives again this spring where I had cut it back down, but then we made splits and we ended up with too many bees again. And so I'm going to try to get it down probably around two to 3 bee yards. Like 3 bee yards would be the tops. Two bee yards would be best, around 60 production colonies, and then have another bee yard for just splits for sustainability. Just split off, make some nukes and all that kind of stuff. But we've got to focus so much more on this expo. Every day it gets more demanding. Just getting calls from other countries and stuff, which is great. We're getting some cool products come in, some good interest. There's in the workshops, big demand. They just mentioned global patties in the comments. So that will be going through John Hill this year. I just got it ironed out. We've got the pricing from Global. So we're basically now just waiting for John to get it on his website. He said it'd be this week. So John Hill, if you're seeing this, get with it.
Sucks to be John.
Yeah. Well,
Surprise.
well, I talked to him about it Saturday night, so there's no excuses.
Yep.
So they will have, and the reason we went with John is primarily because he's so good at integrating the stuff on the website. In the past, we've always had people fill out a spreadsheet. Then I have to take that spreadsheet and then send it to either invoice myself or give it to another company, and they have to invoice it. And then people aren't getting invoiced until Christmas Day or thereabouts. And there's multiple steps and it's a pain. So you should be able to just go to John's and I want 10 pounds of the bulk Global order. John is doing that as a favor to help me. And he's also going to get, some foot traffic from it, of course, but he'll be handling a little under 40,000 pounds of pollen patties. So he probably deserves it at that point.
Hey, Kim, and someone asked about dry mix bags, buckets.
Yeah. So we're looking into that. We don't have any numbers from Global on that. They it's pretty new, and Global really just wants to do commercial stuff. They want to sell pallets, and they want to sell pallets of buckets, pallets of sub, and
Yep.
semi loads are better. And then I understand that, but we've got to find something that'll work for the customer price wise. And part of the reason we're able to have pollen patties at a fraction of what they typically are is because we're buying a semi-load. And Global does that specifically so they can sponsor some stuff at the conference. In the past, they've done the muffins and cookies. This year, they'll be doing something else. But that really helps us be able to provide coffee and cookies and some of the buyouts that we do at the show. And so John's just going to have the website. Everyone's going to go there, just buy it. Boom, done, and that'll be it. But the Global should be a lot simpler this year, and that'll be nice. I imagine that will be ready to buy, and I'll announce it within the next week or so. The drying, we're working on it. They're supposed to get back with me, so I'll let you know as soon as we find out on the dry. But I don't know if I don't think it's going to be near as competitive. So I imagine that it's going to be hard to beat some of the other pricing on dry sub. Global might have a hard time with that, but we'll see. We'll see. So, Bill, you got some Acorn coming in and stuff like that. Of course, you do every year. You've partnered with Acorn, I think, since you've been coming, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And so this year, you guys are doing the same. Can we know at this point, or are we going to see some pink frames this year?
Yes, Acorn is going to have pink frames for giveaway again, and we're both taking pre-orders. So
okay, good deal. We have some people that are like, man, at the rate that I'm going, it's going to take me 9 to 10 years to go to the expo to get a full box of these pink frames.
Now, if somebody wants a full box of pink frames, they can buy them.
So is that something that's not, because originally I think that was just a thing they did, but can you actually buy pink frames now?
If they have them in stock, I believe you can.
Huh. I'm not really jumping over other people to get pink frames, to be honest.
I'm not either.
But it's nice, if you drop one in the grass, you don't have to worry about tripping over it or losing it or anything.
They're not on the website. I just did a quick.
No, they are not. They only have them one time a year, and that's just before Nobby, and that's it. And typically they give them all away, 100% of them away at Nobby.
Well,
now, I know last year
I've never got one.
Several people walked away with a couple of armfuls of them the last day of the conference.
Sure.
That's probably some of my staff. That sounds like
probably
some of my staff. Hey, you need us to clean that up for you?
That's Billy Joe and
Billy Joe,
Reindeer,
Mr. Commercial Beekeeper, and get my pink frames. Them poor beekeepers that do it full time, they've got to just save where they can, pink frames or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, speaking of collared frames, Michael's got probably 5 or 6 different colors of his as well.
I tell people I'll make you any color frame you want. You just have to buy enough of them to make it worth my change out problem. So
Sure.
I run like 26 colors here, but I'm not going to do it for like 20 frames. I'd spend hours cleaning the molds out. But
Exactly.
you want to buy 500 frames and you want lavender or hot whatever, neon, Monster Energy drink green, I don't care. That's your problem.
There we go.
I've got it all here actually already, but
Yeah, that would be fun.
Cayman,
To have
we'll call
some
it
unique colors.
Cayman red. Some
Cam-
Alabama crimson red.
Yeah, okay,
frames.
crimson red. Yeah, there we go. I'm like, what is Cayman red?
I thought about doing a specialty color. I've got to run some more frames before I go. So I'm giving away. So I'm started doing this thing with APMA. So I'm going to give one of their defenders away with my frames. But
awesome.
that's one giveaway. But I thought about doing like a specialty in the standard cell deeps because I've got to put some more in here pretty soon. I might just pick some random off the wall color that I'll never run again and run some for a giveaway. I'm not going to sell them, but maybe just a giveaway thing. You never know. I'm from Arkansas, but I don't like Arkansas, so I'm not going to do Arkansas red.
I'll just shameless plug.
It's a poor man's Alabama Crimson Tide is what Arkansas is.
My alma mater, I'm an Oklahoma Sooner, so that's where I went to school.
We'll talk about poor man red. You know, that's just like when the barn paint got old and they just used it because they didn't have enough money to go get new.
We're frugal like beekeepers, so.
So there's a legit beekeeping question I'm going to take about the patties. You know, if you freeze pollen patties, how long will they last? They'll last a good time in the freezer. How long technically? I don't know. It could be 3 years in a deep freezer. But I've used them 2 years old out of a freezer and not had any issues. They do get a little bit softer as they thaw out with a little bit of the condensation that gets on them as they warm up. But a year definitely is perfectly fine in the freezer. And I'm using some right now that I got at the expo. I always get a few 100 pounds for myself.
Hey, Michael, shameless plug for the next gen. We are accepting silent auction donations pre-reg. So if you have anything kind of, I'm saying you said something off the wall. I'm saying you can throw it in there. I'm not saying more. I'm just saying just something.
Oh no, I thought if technology, my form didn't go through, I was going to get mad. Like I got to fill that out again.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That form was really extensive. I saw it the other day. I was like, wow.
Well, it wasn't that bad, but I filled it out 2 or 3 times already, and I get interrupted, and I close the wrong window, and I get mad, and I come back a few days later. So today was like attempt 3 or 4 in the last week. So I finally thought I got it through, and I was about to say, Chris, I'm going to beat you.
No. I didn't. I actually, full disclosure, no, you're in here. I was going to say I looked earlier, but I didn't see in there. But no, we're always looking for unique things, and obviously the next gen program is very popular and really, is something that we really try to focus on and spend a lot of energy on. Mostly Cayman's mom, not Cayman. So she's the one that kind of. I
started it. My mother's just finishing it. Which has been going on a lot of my life, I think.
My problem is I tell people, they ask about doing different colors, and I always tell them no unless I do X amount. If I just do a few and they're fun and somebody likes them, they're going to expect me to make them, and I don't ever want to make them again.
Well, see, if we want some frames like for us, Chris, that like no one just wants to bid on them or something, we just ask them to do some Tennessee Vol Orange or something like that. Nobody will buy those.
Nobody will buy those. Especially that Jeremy Lindsay loser.
Yeah. There's some Tennessee fans, I'm sure. There's actually Tennessee is usually number 2 in who shows up to the expo. And Ohio is number 3. Who's number 1? Is it Indiana? It's not Kentucky. No. Kentucky is typically like number 5 or number 6, which is shocking.
I would think North Carolina would be up there. Just from
North Carolina is always pretty high up on the list. Ohio and North Carolina are always really well represented. They both have really big hobby markets. Yeah. People like Chris that get in up there in Toledo. But Tennessee's kind of natural just because the thing was kind of born of my YouTube channel out of Tennessee.
It's actually. Oh, hold on. I'm lying here.
We don't have to figure it out right now. I'm going off of mostly the last couple of years statistics.
freaking asked. So
I didn't freaking ask.
it actually is Illinois, then Ohio, then Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, North Carolina, New York, Michigan, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Georgia, California, Missouri, Florida, Wisconsin, Alabama, Maryland, Mississippi.
Wow, Wisconsin's that low and Alabama's that low. Shame.
Yeah.
For shame. The land of my father, Alabama, is that low. We've got to do something about that.
I'm guessing Arkansas is like 45 through 50th.
Well, it's
Like
a
five
poor,
of us to show up.
it's a poor state.
It's between Colorado and Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
No.
I will say that there's been we've been trying this this Hova stuff, the app, and we will continue to use it. There's just been some things we haven't liked so far, so I'm gonna be picking up the slack from the app. So I will be pinging vendors here in the next couple days. A lot of vendors' logos have changed and stuff, and so I'm gonna end up needing a lot of the stuff we said we weren't going to originally, but all with the goal of making everyone's stuff look better and have better stuff. So,
well, hey, saying that, I was working on mine earlier, and I noticed. So, I'm doing like a general like discount for everything at the show. Then I'm doing a giveaway, but in the promotional, it doesn't let you separate them. So I had to just pick giveaway because I have to pick one category.
okay.
And then when I did my two descriptions, it just slams them together. So when you're reading them, unless you're paying attention, you don't know what's going on.
Perfect.
Might be something to look at. I don't know if there's a way to.
If you can screenshot it, I'll send it to support. I've been poor Michael from Technically Beekeeping. He still can't get into his account.
Jeez.
So, technology stuff. So I emailed the support again today, very, very plainly, and just said, like, let's get on this.
Yeah, well, we're paying enough money for it.
Yeah. So I know we've heard some feedback. We really do listen. So the app will live on, but we're going to be making some big changes to the website here in the next week. So with the goal of having a separate deals page again, and having some sponsors and all kinds of other stuff. So the website will be updated a lot in the next week, a lot. So,
well,
and the vendors are going to get a lot of emails from me.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm getting ready to go to Waco, and you're going to start spamming me. Thanks a lot.
I try to keep them to be really nice. I try to be really concise, nice emails because I know everyone doesn't want to open 10 emails, but I know that vendors also don't want to read a book. But it's one or the other. So I try to make it just real nice and concise and just the best I can do. So there's a lot going on.
Is there still a lot of vendors that haven't signed up still? Right?
As of right now, there's when I sent that email, there were 39 vendors who still had blank profiles.
Man.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty normal for this. And I'm not trying to be mean. As someone who's running bees and also running a couple businesses, business owners are typically extremely busy and burning the candle at both ends. And we are also fighting the fact that, a lot of these companies are like Bill and they don't even hardly know how to get on the stream. And so it's just really difficult to teach an old dog new tricks sometimes.
Just delete Bill.
Bill's just like, see if we go to that stupid expo next year. But the good news is we got so many people that like the stuff that they just won't let you leave. So we kind of got you, Bill.
Yep.
Take those pink frames away and there's going to be a mutiny.
Yeah. I'll make sure I let Walt know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no pressure. It's just, business suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
But all jokes aside, yeah, we definitely want to be able to make this as easy as possible. But the beekeeping industry is not necessarily renowned for its technology. Most of us aren't in this industry because we're major tech gurus,
right?
And I think people should just be grateful we're able to get on this stream tonight. And I really think the people in the comments should really be probably saying nicer things, and especially Tom Ostman.
I mean, in the beginning, I was kind of wondering because Chris and I were talking, and he said, "Well, you're on the live stream." And I said, "Well, he hadn't showed up in the stage yet, so let's talk about technically able."
I know. Well, that's why I can vouch, is because I'm Laurel describes me as a 60-year-old man in a 30-year-old man's body, because I hate technology and it hates me. It doesn't cooperate, doesn't do what I want. And I went to the email that Chris sent me.
Here we go.
And
Listen,
there was a Google Meet thing on the right side, and it said Shenandoah, and I clicked it.
You can lead the donkey to the water, but you can't make the donkey drink.
You can't give the donkey two options, and then there'll only be one that's right.
Well, I think both ways you end up
met twice today. We've met like twice today on Google Meet and streamed, and then tonight we all of a sudden it's StreamYard, but you still have a Google in there. For
the record, I did tell him that earlier. I said, now remember, I did copy. Our meeting on Wednesday is the same way. It has a Google Meet. We're gonna click on the Zoom link from the other person. I'll remind you on Wednesday.
I know what I want, Chris. I just don't know how to get there.
This is like watching Tom and Melissa at night.
It is.
Laurel sometimes gets jealous.
Listen, this is 4 years of practice right here.
Yeah, it really is. Laurel, how do you hear all the awkward things that I do when I bring your name up? You heard your name. It was just positive things we were saying.
Bill came and answered this. Came and answered this the other night in his chat. So I want to hear you answer from Bees Nuts. Because Kamon answered the same question last week in his live. I want to hear someone else answer it.
Was it not good enough last time?
No, just
yes.
Need to get all the
you
answers.
Can double up Reflectex. If you put an inch of airspace between it, it raises the R value for the Reflectex.
Yeah, there you go, Chris.
So how do you propose do you do that? Do you put like a wooden shim in between them?
You can, or you can put one underneath of the inner cover and one above it. You still have airspace.
Oh, okay, so you don't use the Reflectex as the inner cover. You use it as in between them.
Yeah.
Okay.
One underneath of it.
And one underneath.
The inner cover, and then one above it.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying I swapped out my inner. I don't use inner covers at all anymore. I only use Reflectex, and I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm just making sure that we're speaking the same thing. So.
Yeah, we talked about the same thing on the chat on Friday with Charlie, and that question came up.
Because my question back to Kamon as someone who's watched this happen. If you put two Reflectex together and you get moisture in between them, not with a barrier, just two of them together, I just made the comment that will become real slippery, especially with like rain, freezing, whatever. And again, no barrier, no inner cover, just literally two Reflectex sandwiched together.
Well, I think if you use a migratory lid, you're going to see that. If you use a telescoping cover, you're not going to see that issue unless there's a leak in the telescoping cover.
But my personal opinion, I think, is that Reflectech isn't the insulator. It's just like you say, an inner cover. It's a cheap inner cover.
Yeah. But if you put that airspace between it, that airspace is what becomes the insulator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not that
airspace.
It's not that insulative. It's supposed to reflect the heat, and supposedly it has an R value of 1, which is pretty much the same as the thickness of the wood on the box. So that's really not that much. It's basically like have two sealed wooden inner covers on your hive. So if you're really wanting some serious insulation, you're going to have to, like you said, add some air to boost that up. Or if you really want to get hardcore, you're going to have to use some foam board if you're wanting heavy duty stuff. But if you got extra, this person probably just has some extra Reflectex sitting around and thought, well, it won't hurt just to sit it on there.
Right.
And, I've done that before. I've been in a bee yard, just had a couple extras just sitting there, and I didn't want to have to haul it back. And I'm just like, this hive's getting a couple extras.
So there is another way to do it, Chris.
Yep.
You take a 3.5-inch shim. You take 1.5 inches of blue board foam, put it in the top, put tape around it, flip it over, pack your sugar in there. So you mix it so it's snowball consistency.
Sure.
Where about 10 pounds of sugar, you mix in 2 cups of 2-to-1 or Pro Sweet.
Oh,
all right.
You're really going sugary. Okay.
Mix it in, and tamp it in. Put 1/2 inch hardware cloth on it with a 3/8 inch shim. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've got 2 inches of sugar, 1.5 inches of foam board. Any moisture that's created, the sugar is going to absorb the moisture. Put it on the hive, leave it on until March. It's emergency food anyway.
Sure.
The next year, when you take it off, you break it back out to use it again.
Yeah.
You don't have to put new sugar in it.
Sure.
You just mix that consistency up and mash it down through the 1/2 inch hardware cloth. There you go. You can do it that way for about 4 years before you have to replace sugar.
Sure. Interesting. That's cool. I've never heard that direct, like that full thing together.
And now you've got a condensing hive with emergency feed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you leave that foam board on too long, your bees love to eat it. And
They can't get to it. The sugar's keeping them from getting to it.
No. I know. I'm saying, but if you leave that board on too long, again,
you'll also end up with comb being built in the sugar where they eat in the rows of the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make some scaffolding. There's Roy talking that he's feeling attacked, that he says he's 60 and that it was age shaming. I haven't ever been accused of that before. I've been called a lot of stuff and accused of a lot of things and even sued. But I haven't ever been accused of age shaming before, except when I asked Laurel her age one time before we got married, and she was older than me. I wasn't disappointed, though. It takes women sometimes a little bit longer to mature than guys do, and so I was just, that's why I like to marry an older woman like she is. She's, I think she's like 4 months older than me or something like that. We were both born in '88.
Real careful there, man. You're walking on ice there.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see the frying pan come flying through the screen.
Bill, let me tell you, I have a tally sheet here of how many times I've seen shoes, slippers, no hive tool yet, but yeah, pans, pots.
Yeah, I always make sure that there's items for her to grab nearby because she'll go for the nearest thing, and I always make sure they're light items. Accidentally leave a screwdriver one day and that's it.
Yep.
Came and died during a live chat saying one more stupid thing. But she really is pretty long suffering. I just enjoy being a cut up, and my grandpa was that way. On both of my grandfathers were that way. My dad's not that way. My mother's not that way. They're funny people, but they're not like me at all. And neither are my brothers. They're good people to hang out with, and they're fun, but they're not massive extroverts, and they're not talkers, and just people that sit there going, how can I spend this? And I am. And Laurel, she was so desperate to get away from her massively introverted family. That was kind of interesting. She was willing to take a chance with me, and it worked out great for me. And, Laurel, I think she's too proud to admit when she's wrong. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, this is a lifelong project, and I think she's come to realize that her expectations were set way too high. So as far as, but Chris has done a great job getting the expo going. We've got very soon, all of the lectures will be available. They're already, like I said earlier, they're titles.
Yeah. No videos yet. That doesn't happen until after the expo.
Well, right. All the titles and the descriptions, but there are some that are already available. And like I said, you just go to their names, click on Bob Benny. He's doing this or that. And so most of them already have some. There are some that don't yet, and we're filling those in. And then there will be what was it going to be, like a PDF or something, and there'll be something on the app with the whole itinerary and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'll once it's, so obviously all this stuff's still changing, or it has been. So I haven't made any videos yet, but real simply, if you go to the schedule right now in the top right corner, on a desktop, I should say, on the top right corner, there's a little like printer icon, and if you click that, give it a second, and it'll load. It actually does this fantastic, very simple schedule that you can print out. Everyone will definitely have a program.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have the app, you can do the app, which I would recommend doing the app because you can actually like pick and choose all your classes and make your own schedule. And
Well, there will
some
be
cool stuff
events
there.
announced on it too.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there. But going back to the schedule, I know a lot of people like to plan ahead of time. So if you click that print button, it actually gives this really nice, concise schedule view that you can print out and go through it. So I was very happily surprised to see that worked so well. So that is available. I would recommend waiting a little while. Like Kamon said, we're still making changes on stuff. So we'll definitely be happy to make hey, things are finished for now. Certainly things might always a little change here and there.
So I wonder if there's anything from people in the crowd that they'd like to see in the future from a lecture, and it's hard because we have 3,000 people, and some folks are like, we need more stuff that's for humid Florida. And we have some people that are like, what about West Coast people? What about Canadians? Well, what about them? And cold weather beekeeping, and we try to touch on as much of this as possible. This year we're having some unique things that we never had before, and these are some that are rock solid. Borrowing some emergency happens. We have some really unique ones like apitherapy, and it's not just like bee sting therapy. It's also using propolis and bee bread and pollen and products from the hive to use for light health related issues or preventative things or just nutritional things. So we'll have one of the apithary, the folks with the apithary group. Gosh, and I'm gonna have to work on that before I get on stage and announce it at the show.
Apitherapy.
Is that the group that's building a apithary place near Withville, Virginia?
I do not know. They have their own conference, the apitherapy. I want to say apiary. That's my problem. And so the apitherapy folks, they run their own conference. I reached out to them. They're going to send a couple people out. One of them is going to be giving. Christine is going to be giving one on basically using honey and tinctures and stuff for health, and then she'll be giving another one on
part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, part 1 and part 2. Other types of stuff. There's Lyme's disease related therapies where there's been multiple known cures for helping Lyme's disease with bee venom. Mm-hmm. And so we'll have some talks like that, which are very unique for us. We're also going to have one on how to use social media to massively grow honey cells and other product branding and beekeeping. And so that's something that we haven't had before, but there's a group of people that are wanting to be able to branch into that. And there is a lot of tricks and analytics and dynamics that beekeepers who are wanting to use that can really benefit from. And it's not for everybody, but I do know that several of my buddies who are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in gross sales a year are typically guys, especially if they're my age group and they have younger businesses. They are totally leveraging social media, and it can really give you a leg up and help you get a premium on your product and create a bigger fan base quicker. So we'll be having, those are some of the more unique things. We're also going to be having talks about some cold weather stuff. Should you insulate versus ventilate, pros and cons, some of the research, condensing hives, how to maximize honey yields without having to expand your apiary. So how to dial in your colonies and get more out of each one. We're going to have several talks on tropolalaps, the latest research, and in multiple different controls and test groups. But this isn't going to be a boring talk. It really isn't. I've heard a lot of this. The people that I've brought in, they're really enjoyable to listen to. Maggie was a beekeeper long before she was a PhD. And she's able to do both brilliantly. And so she's going to give some great lectures and work with Jeff to present what's really going on with that. I actually had a conversation with a Canadian this morning about it. And there's some really good research coming out on tropolalaps. It's not like everything's perfect, but we're making some good progress on some potential controls and kind of how things can be tweaked and what that might look like. So we'll have information on that. Frederick Dunn's going to be giving a talk on luring hiving and keeping swarms. So for people who are looking to up their game or try out swarm trapping, we'll have that. We'll have a Wisconsin commercial beekeeper talk about how to build and sell nukes and how the nuke market has really blown up. A lot of you guys will remember, 20 years ago, if you were in the industry, the package market really dominated versus nucleus colonies. And we have definitely seen over the last 20 something years a big shift in the balance of packages versus nuke cells. So talking about how to do that. We'll have Ray Olivares talking about how they raise the Golden West queens from Randy Oliver's stock and their Saskatraz line, how they keep them separate, and the advantages of using these Golden West queens for beekeepers that want to treat less or breed for resistance. Oh, well, of course, we'll have Bob Benny give a myriad of talks.
You just make it sound like, yeah, we just throw him up there and he talks a little bit, It's Bob.
Well,
Myriad. I think he's on 2 panels in one talk, or 2 talks in one panel.
Yeah, he is.
Myriad of talk.
Myriad. So he's gonna be doing one on with. He's gonna do a combo with Greg Rogers on both of their OA research and details on how to manage a Varroa within using that extended release. And it'll be some questions and answers too, so people can really get some questions answered. And then Bob's going to be talking about small scale to large scale, the logistics of moving bees from yard to yard. Some of the tools and stuff. So that's going to be more of a small scale, professional, commercial talk. And we've got to have some of those. We have some people that are really looking to make that jump to several hundred colonies or thousands eventually. We need to have some of that stuff as well. And Bob's obviously a great person for that. And I'm trying to get Bob to do some new talks too, because, everyone's seen Bob's old talks. And so poor Bob, every year I force him to do at least one new one. It's like, well, I've got this good one. I'm like, yeah, everyone's seen it though, Bob, like twice. I guess so. I feel bad making him work like that, but they say it's really good for the mind, and so he should be thanking me.
He is so easygoing.
Bob really is too good of a friend to me than I deserve, but we're a nice contrast because Bob's too nice and I'm not nice enough, and so both of us being on stage, like everyone expects me to roast Bob, but then finally after 15 minutes, Bob, it's like, I'm fixing to throw a zinger, and he does, and it's hilarious. It's great comedy. Then, we're going to have just a little stuff on managing Varroa with not just genetics, but also Adrian Quiney is going to be talking about what he calls biotechnical beekeeping. And this is making, shook swarms and using splits and brood breaks to really help knock back the mite population naturally. And so if you're using a bee that's more resistant, plus these techniques, and there's more to it than what I explained, I'm having success with Varroa and making it a lot easier on your bees and the beekeeper. But it's very well thought out. I've heard Adrian talk. I've spoke with him in Wisconsin, and he did a good job. And so I've thought about having him since, and we had him this year. And we got to talk on all kinds of, there's going to be a vendor that's bringing, by the sound of it, a ton, like a truckload of plants. And some of them will be for sale, but everything from vitex to basswood to the tulip poplar and bushes and just all kinds of plants for honeybees, pollen and nectar producers. And he'll be giving a talk on these plants and just what bees like and what different regions will do. And so we have other talks in this. We have one on creamed honey, and we're looking to have a panel on that as well. So there's a lot of things going on and more to talk about. So anyone who's really looking to have learn any of that knowledge, we're going to have some of the best talks in those areas. And if you can't make it to some of those talks, I'm sure that there's the videos afterwards that you can watch. That's the nice thing, is people can watch the videos. And bee clubs, honestly, we sell a lot to bee clubs each year, where the bee club will purchase the whole recordings, and maybe they'll bring someone in, like one of us or somebody, to give a lecture, but not every month they can bring somebody in maybe. And so they'll, excuse me, supplement it with some of the videos from the expo.
Mm-hmm. Now, are the vendors going to have access to the videos?
Oh, no. The vendors don't need to be educated. If they get educated, they might revolt. And so, no, typically it's only free to the attendees. And the way we look at it is, that's part of their package and not the vendors. But we're looking, we didn't do it last year because we thought of it too late, but we are looking at having a discounted vendor price just to help cover some of the costs, because there are many, many thousands of dollars it takes to produce these tins. And, we're just trying to make up for some of it. You keep making me nervous, Chris. You've been emailing my mother, and I think she just emailed you back. And so as I was on here talking, I mentioned my mother. I was afraid she was emailing me about what I've said online and how much trouble I'm in later.
No, we would never do that behind your back.
Well, sometimes she finds these things. Usually it's my live chats. And that's why I'm a little bit more careful. I really do cut more loose on other people's channels because I know my mother and my aunt and my wife typically aren't watching like a hawk so much. And so it's not that I get bad. I just don't behave. And I might say something about my mother that gets me in trouble. Again.
I didn't share any of those. This is all work related.
Where to find free money / grants to help expand your bee business and do research.
Yeah, and the same guy made 2 other comments prior.
Yep.
What you wish you knew before you expanded your bee business, and the biggest mistake you made by the biggest mistake made by the biggest bee companies.
Learn from
our mistakes.
I like that one. And the free money and grants, the trickiest one with that one is some of those. There are some federal grants, but a lot of the better ones that I see are state. And so that would be a little trickier for us to cover, but there is some USDA stuff and other things, but I'm not really familiar with a lot of that stuff. I'd be very interested in hearing from somebody on that regard. So I have done a little bit of grant stuff, but it's state level things and it's like a cost share. I do know that like some of the companies have gotten grants for like putting in a little more agritourism or buildings. They get maybe 25 to 30% of it, a certain amount. But it's tricky. And, part of me doesn't like that stuff because I feel like there's a lot of waste. I know some people that have gotten a lot of really fancy things and they don't have even a legit business. But then again, I'm like, if I don't do it, that's my tax money they're blowing right there. So I might as well get some of it back.
There you go.
And all that. But I just wish they just wouldn't take my money and let me figure out how I can use it instead. I think I could be a little bit better at making sure that we're not supplying arms and weaponry to other countries. Let's see. So biggest mistake made by the biggest bee companies, learn from our mistakes. I like that one. And what you wish you know before you expand your bee business. How little money there was in the bee industry. I mean, did I say that out loud? Yeah. Really, the main thing, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like if I'm answering that question, don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Many times, for whatever reason, everyone thinks that the old ways are the problem, and very rarely is it the problem. The reason we got to where we're at is because thousands of beekeepers over multiple generations were fine-tuning things. It doesn't mean they all agreed, just like us. Some of us prefer to use all mediums or to use a long Langstroth or a top bar hive or whatever, heaven forbid. There's several ways to enjoy beekeeping, but the fundamentals don't change. In our forefathers, they were trying deep datent hives. They were trying Western supers and Illinois supers and shallows. And then there'd be this other brand of super. And while none of them are inherently bad, at some point, the companies also, Bill and Michael can tell you firsthand, And a lot of my buddies and other companies will tell you that everyone wants 8-frame equipment, but the problem of it is how many people are actually buying 8-frame equipment compared to 10-frame. And it doesn't mean that some of the companies can't do it, but when you go to Appamondi, it really paints a clear picture of what it could look like, because there is everything there, and there's no uniformity, and it creates a lot of it creates as many issues as it solves, because now you're running a certain type of equipment and Bill doesn't produce it. So if he's local to you, he can't get it. You got to ship it in. Everything gets more expensive. So our ancestors basically tried all the things out. No, the data frame's too deep. The boxes are way too heavy on average. This is acceptable. This is what works. So don't reinvent the wheel. Bees are very similar to every other creature. They have to have a good habitat. So that means they have to have a dry cavity, clean. They've got to have plenty of nutrition all the time. That's one of the number one things beekeepers miss early on, is they think that they're just going to be able to stick bees in a box and they're just going to be able to draw all the comb that they can, and they're just going to be able to take care of their stores and everything's going to manage itself. Well, nature will manage them to their grave. It's not always that cut and dry, but it really depends on where you live. There are some areas in the United States that are just really great habitat. It's just great habitat for bees. There's flows for 5 or 6 months out of the year. And then there's places like Tennessee where there's a flow that will actually feed the bees and gain them weight for probably 3 months out of the year. And then the rest of the year, they're losing weight. And, and so as long as they have enough surplus, that's fine. And so feed is a lot of it, and also mites. And if you have, bees that can take care of that, well, then how do you know that if you're not monitoring them to a degree? Especially new beekeepers, they need to be double checking all of this stuff. Bees can be lost very quickly. And sometimes it's not mites at all, and it's not feed. It's a queen event. That's the number 2 reason we lose bees in our business. If we have 300 hives, we're going to have, I'd say between 30 and 50 queen events of the year. And a lot of them, get close to fixing themselves, but sometimes need a little bit of help. We lose a swarm. They don't requeen themselves, stuff like that. So it's really the fundamentals. And that's why we say great queens, dead mites, and good nutrition. Somehow, some way, you got to get all those things as healthy as possible, because even if it's a resistant bee, the mites have to be dealt with in some form or fashion, and the nutrition must always be present. Bees might have good genetics, but if they have a lack of nutrition, they don't feed the brood as good, they're not going to live as long, they're not going to be as successful. And if you have a bad queen, your engine's bad and you're out of luck. So that's pretty much, in a nutshell. Don't get fancy. Focus on those fundamentals. Make sure you got a good queen in there. Make sure you have plenty of feed. Learn how to manage their space, and whatever equipment that you pick, try to find something, especially initially, that's pretty uniform, so you can come to the Bee Expo or some other event and you can get some more equipment. And if you want to try something unique, that's fine. But early on, it's best to keep it simple. So you can use a regular extractor, or better yet, borrow an extractor from your bee club or something. Just keep it simple and focus on bee health, and get into your hives. There's a lot of people that'll sit and not get in their bees for a month, and that's fine sometimes. But, if you had a queen event and they've been queenless for 4 weeks, you're already way behind the ball on trying to get that to be not a laying worker colony. So management does come into play to a degree, and there's a lot of different ways to go about it. But I like to take 100 bees and turn them into 300 in a year. That's how I run them. So I'm going to lose bees, but I'm going to make way more bees than what I'm ever going to lose, unless it's the worst year that I've ever seen. And so that's how bees do it in nature too. A good hive in a tree is going to send off multiple swarms in a year typically. Not all of them are going to make it to the next year. So I think as beekeepers, we can learn a lot of lessons from when the bees want to do things and why. So keep it simple. Stupid is what my dad always told me growing up. And honestly, he still says it from time to time. And so, you know, he said it'd be character building, and I seem to not lack any character too much. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to say on that matter. There's a few other things that he's saying down there. We'll look into those, but I got on a little bit of a tirade. I apologize, Bill, but
It's okay.
That's how I do it.
If I didn't want you to do a tirade every now and then, I wouldn't have invited you on.
Well, this may be the last. I'll take a hint if I never get invited back.
The invitation's always open. Anytime you want to come in, you can come in.
This sounds like a Baptist church now.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. The invitation's always open.
So I got one more trivia question. This one's a $50 gift certificate. It has to do with thermoregulation of the hive. How do worker bees maintain the temperature in the hive, either in the winter, or how do they cool it in the summer? And what muscles do they use to maintain those temperatures? No cheating. You can't look it up. You got 3
Bill
minutes.
knows if someone's cheating because you'll get the Chat GPT, the paragraph copy.
Yep.
Well, I asked. So I've been co-authoring a book, and I won't give too much information on it, but I was putting some stuff.
See Chris, he's like, oh great, I get to edit a book now.
That's right.
I like listen. Nothing is sacred to anyone around Kamon. I mean, if I told I
have not been told I
share.
can't say anything about it. You know, I have to be given very clear restrictions if you want anything to be sacred.
You gotta make them sign an NDA.
That's it. Really, it's
and
about,
more.
Yeah, NDAs. But all jokes aside, you put stuff into Chat GPT. I was trying some stuff to see what it would pull up, and some of the things it would do pretty good, but some of the stuff it would say was just absolutely bonkers wrong in beekeeping. It's probably reading some hip beekeeping book written in 2024 or something like that on how feel good beekeeping works and how bees like it.
So we have a correct answer.
Don't tell
already. So
yeah.
Dinah is the closest thing we have to the correct answer. So she wins the $50 gift certificate on the second one.
Ding ding ding.
Email me tomorrow, Dinah, and we'll work out how do you redeem it.
Cool.
So
That's
didn't
fun.
mean to interrupt you, Kamon. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was done. I'd said enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's been great having you on. We get a lot of good conversation, a lot of good questions, I think. Chris is the comic relief.
Yeah,
So,
Do my
he's
best.
the funny one.
Is it
Yeah.
a children's book?
I think he's doing a backhanded knife joke.
Well, Brian, there just went the whole chances of you doing a panel on creamed honey with us. I need to get back to you on that. But after that short joke, but we're just going to have to think about it a couple more years before we bring you back up to the big stage where the big boys are at. All jokes aside, though, no, I really enjoyed being on with you, Bill, and all the rest of you guys. And I want to say thank you guys for being a part of our show. And you guys are low maintenance guys. We appreciate that as well, too. But we also want this to work as well for you as possible. So if you do have any questions about things, reach out to us, especially logistics on bringing product in as that gets closer. Michael or Bill, if you guys have any questions, we want this show to be as seamless as possible and a good experience. And if it's especially good for the beekeepers, we're interested in working with you on it. So just keep us in mind. And I've given my opinion on what I think about having Charlie in your booth and what that could mean for the demographics and the analytical profits that your company is going to experience. But if you're willing to take that chance,
just as long as he doesn't wear a dress, I'm happy.
oh gosh,
We ain't doing that.
we're not holding this conference in Maryland, like where Charlie's from. This isn't Boston. Well, it's Louisville. Never mind. Okay, I'll stop. Hey, Dina, congratulations on winning. Good to see you, Brian. Even the terrible jokes, and of course Tom and all the other folks in there. Several good friends, and Michael and Bill and Charlie. All good to hang out with you. Chris, I'll see you at work in the morning. And be sharp and get rid of that attitude.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I expect you to be on time this time. So yeah.
We have a time. I'm the boss. I'm always on time. I'll send you the workshop stuff here in just a second. Like I said, I would.
Perfect.
So all right. Well, Chris and I are out of here. I've got to go carve some stuff up with the kids. We're making some acorn flour and stuff. We're rinsing off the tannins, and the kids are really into that right now. So if I die of acorn poisoning, Chris, run the show without me.
Yeah, I'll do the best I can.
All right. We'll see you.
Good night, you guys.
See you guys.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
See you guys.
So everybody that's in here, if you enjoyed the chat tonight, don't forget to smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It keeps us all hanging around a little bit longer. So it's been fun tonight. So I know it's 4 minutes early, but I'm going to end the chat now. If anybody wants to come in real quick and hang out with me and Charlie and Michael afterwards, you're more than welcome. Tom, if Todd's still in here, Brian, come on in. Y'all have a good night, and I'll see you Friday night.
Hey, Judith.
Night, Judith.